What is going on, you guys? I want to talk to you today a little bit about Infinity War. So I am going to talk about the movie. I'm going to give you like a review first, and then we're going to get to a spoiler section. So first off, overall, blown away. Movie, absolutely amazing. There's another round of the giveaway going on right now. So if you'd like to win a gaming expansion of your choice in the form of a $20 Cool Stuff gift card, all you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or any of my videos. It's as simple as that. So make sure you click that subscribe button and also click that little bell down there for alerts so you don't miss out when new videos come out. I normally talk about Star Wars stuff or gaming stuff, but this is so big and it was so amazing. I had to talk about it. So still non-spoilery stuff yet. This movie actually exceeded expectations. Now, I generally try to keep expectations a little bit lower than normal. There were some movies like Spider-Man Homecoming that people were raving about, and then when I went to see it, I was just like, well, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't worthy of all that rave. It was just good. Whereas other movies, you go in with no expectations, like Guardians of the Galaxy, and walk out being like, holy cannoli, that was amazing. Cannoli? Holy cannoli. So anyway, so this one is kind of in that Guardians of the Galaxy standpoint. Is I went in actually expecting it to be good, and it was better than I thought. Yeah, it's hard to talk about this movie without talking spoilers. So let's just say I think they did a good job of making all of the characters meaningful. I didn't feel like there were too many characters that were just thrown in there for no good reason. A lot of the characters had a point. There were some that probably didn't have the best, like the biggest payoff on their characters. That were some that were kind of in there just a little bit, but everybody had something meaningful. As far as what you need to see beforehand, I know some people that didn't see Black Panther. I don't think that's. I think they do a good enough job of kind of summarizing a lot of other movies. Although I think Thor Ragnarok and maybe some of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies would probably. This one is a little bit more cosmic than Earth-based, I think, as far as like if what you may want to see beforehand. It has a little bit of that Guardians of the Galaxy feel. It almost feels like it's like the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie in some ways. But it's got a lot of things going on. Like there'll be a lot of times where like something's going on here, something's going on there, and something's going on here, and they kind of jump around between them. So, but it did a good job of balancing everything that was going on, and I think it did a good job of making you really want to root for some of these characters. Some of these characters did a fantastic job, and overall, I'd say I wanted to see more of certain characters, especially some of the female characters. I wanted to see a little bit more, either screen time or emphasis on. But they've got a lot. Your main characters had a lot of screen time. Robert Downey Jr. had a lot of screen time. Chris Evans had a good amount of screen time. Thor had a lot. All right, now I'm jumping from real names to character names. They've kind of become synonymous with each other. And Doctor Strange had a lot of screen time as well, which was good. There were certain characters I could have wanted maybe a little more out of that I think were worthy of a little bit more. But I think there were a lot of things I expected to happen. Almost nothing of what I actually expected ended up happening. It was so different than things that I think we kind of all like think you're going to see when you walk into an Avengers movie. And it was crazy. I didn't know there was going to be that much singing in a movie. So it's like a musical almost. No, I'm joking. There's no. So, all right. So with that, great movie. It's definitely one I think you're going to want to see multiple times because it was so deep. There's so much going on, and I probably missed way more than I even saw. Completely loaded. So now we're going to talk about spoilers and also my prediction for the end credits scene. Yes, there is one end credits scene, by the way. That being said, it is after all of the credits. So make sure you stay for the whole thing. It's after all of the credits. There is an end credits scene, and it's pretty decent. So we're going to talk about spoilers and what I think is going to be in the next Avengers movie as well. So, that being said, here we go. This is your warning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. All right, so yes, this is the really, I went into this movie thinking, okay, Chris Evans said he wasn't gonna be in any more movies, so we're gonna lose Captain America, maybe one other person. It's not at all what happened. All right, so everybody dies. Everybody dies. I can't freaking believe it. So almost everybody. But there's a couple of people. You have, Chris Evans survives. Robert Downey Jr., who you thought was going to leave because he was getting old or whatever, he survives. Thor survives, and Rocket Raccoon, and Bruce Banner, and Okoye, and Scarlet Witch, and I think Nebula, and War Machine. I think everybody else is dead. It's like it's crazy how they just killed everybody, and it hits you by surprise because a couple of people died during the movie. You have like, oh, there goes somebody, oh, there goes somebody, oh, there goes somebody. They start you off early because like Loki dies like right away, and you're like, oh boy, people just start dying pretty early, and then Heimdall dies right away too. And it's just more and more, and then Gamora, and gosh, who else did we lose? Like just naturally like that. And some people, some people I wasn't sure if they died. Like Thanos, smashes a couple of people so hard you're not really sure if they made it or not. But it looked like they killed Mantis and Batista or Drax. So many characters, I'm running out of their names. I thought that they were dead, and apparently he just messed with them, and then they came right back, which was weird. And it seemed like the Hulk character was scared. There's a whole lot of stuff going on underneath, and I think, I have a feeling a lot of what happens in this movie is an illusion, right? So if you're just here for spoilers and want to find out what happens, Thanos goes around collecting stones. He starts with one. They kind of jump right into the plot. Thanos, had already gotten the one stone, the purple one from first Guardians of the Galaxy. He went to that planet, got it from I think the Nova Corps or whoever had that stone, and then he's on Thor's ship trying to get the space gem from Loki. Loki ends up giving it to him, and now he's got 2 stones. Heimdall uses the Bifrost, or the last of the Bifrost, to send Hulk. Hulk attacks, and this is a great moment. Okay, Loki is talking like, oh yeah, well Loki finally gets to say we've got a Hulk, and a Hulk slams into Thanos, and they're and all the Thanos' guards are like no, let him have his fun. Thanos completely demolishes Hulk, badly. And I think Hulk is scared because Hulk refuses to come out and the whole rest of the movie after this. Banner's like, Hulk, I need you, and he's like, no. I'm like, I think Thanos just scared the bejesus out of him, and so that was kind of exciting or interesting, and I think that can tie into so many interesting things in the future. So Thanos ends up sending his guys to Earth. He says there's 2 Infinity Gems there. And Thanos goes to the Nowhere to try to get the power from the Power Stone from the Collector. Again, Guardians of the Galaxy reference. Or actually, no, that wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy. That was the end of Thor 2, where the companions gave it to the Collector. But the Collector was in Guardians of the Galaxy also. Again, the funny thing is we didn't see Adam Warlock. I expected to see an Adam Warlock trailer. Maybe he'll be in the next one. So, Iron Man and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange end up aboard this ship because they're going after the Time Gem. Doctor Strange has the Time Gem. Doctor Strange kicks butt in this movie too. Totally does. You have this great fight scene between Maw and Supergiant against Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and then Spider-Man shows up. And he gets his new armor midfield deployment, which is great. But just a great scene. Tony Stark kicks butt in this movie too. It was very, very awesome. And his interactions with Doctor Strange are pretty cool too. They kidnap Doctor Strange. They can't take it off of him. It's injected with a spell. He can't take it off of him. So all right, well, I'll just take all of you then, and I'll force you to give it to me. Takes him up in the spaceship. Iron Man and Spider-Man both kind of sneak aboard the spaceship trying to free him. They end up doing it, but they're already halfway to Thanos' home planet. So while that's happening, the other 2, Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, are going after Vision. And they were very, very close to getting him, and that kind of sets up the whole Wakanda plot. And you also get one of the best scenes in the movie. And there are a lot of these stand up and clap scenes where everybody was clapping. And it's when Vision and Scarlet Witch are like on their little secret rendezvous, and people, you know, and they're like, we need to go back. Oh, we don't need to go back. And all of a sudden they get ambushed, and they're getting attacked, and all of a sudden Cap and everybody shows up, and you see like this train. Everybody looks, you see this silhouette, and I knew it was Cap, and I was just like, oh. It was so good. It was so good. And so then Cap is there with Falcon and Black Widow, and you know, and they save them, and then in approximate midnight, and Corvus Glaive gets wounded, and they ended up leaving, escaping. And so one thing that leads to another, they all go back to Avengers headquarters. There's this whole like Thunderbolt Ross is there. So you're getting just about everybody from the MCU is in this movie. And I do mean just about everybody. There's very few people who aren't. I think Spider-Man's aunt is the only one who's not in this movie. And maybe she was in the director's scene. I don't know. The director's cut, we'll have to see. But it's just about everybody's in this movie. So, so let's see. They meet up with War Machine, and they said, all right, look, you know. Oh, and Banner is there, and Banner is the one that tells everybody what's going on, because Heimdall sends Hulk away after he morphs back into Banner so he can warn Earth. He warns Doctor Strange, who then warns Tony Stark. You know, and then Banner goes and warns the rest of the Avengers, or the former Avengers. They figure out, all right, he needs the stone in Vision's head. Well, where can we keep him safe? And Cap's like, I know a guy. And they go to Wakanda. So that sets up the whole Wakanda thing, is they're there to hold off long enough for them to get the gem out of Vision's head. They believe the plan is that if they can remove the gem carefully, they can separate it and keep Vision there, because he's been evolving, and there may be enough of him left without the gem to survive. Makes sense, especially if you want to save the character. But they also figure out Scarlet Witch can destroy the gem, so this is the way to stop Thanos from being able to get all 6. And basically the idea is if he gets all 6, he can snap his finger and destroy half the life in the universe. And they try to make Thanos relatable. Like, he's definitely a true villain. But he's not the Joker. He doesn't want to just watch the world burn. He believes that by cutting the population of the universe in half, he thinks there's an overpopulation problem. And they do a little bit to explore why he thinks this is true. He sees, oh look, this planet is overpopulated and now they're starving. You know, you kill half of them, now they're not starving anymore, and the kids can grow up in a decent society. So he's mad. He's totally mad. He thinks that that's right. I mean, if you've got all that power, why not give them more food, or take half to another planet and give them the opportunity, you know. But he's mad. He wants to do it his way. He won't hear anybody else out. So, and of course, you know, going to Wakanda brings in Bucky, and you've got all of the Black Panther characters. Okoye, who's like one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thor is floating in space. Guardians of the Galaxy end up rescuing him through a distress beacon. So that brings in all of that. And the cool thing is, Thor and Rocket and Groot end up going on another side mission to find the same dwarves who made his hammer to get a new weapon. And this is a cool little subplot. But you get some really good interaction between Rocket and Thor. Rocket Raccoon, who's like comic relief, tends to be one of these characters that brings like a tear-jerking scene to a movie. And it's like, you expect all jokes out of him, but then when he gets serious, you're like, dang, that was deep. You know, and so they have this, you know, and it kind of puts Thor in perspective that he's lost everything, so he doesn't care about going after Thanos, because he's like, what else can he take from me? You know, he just killed his brother and all his friends and all his people. And, oh yeah, that's another thing. All of Asgard is dead. Every single last Asgardian, with the exception of Thor, is dead now. So the cool thing is, Thor ends up restarting this neutron star. The dwarf is able to forge a new hammer for Thor, and it's Stormbreaker, which is Beta Ray Bill's hammer, which is really cool. It's a nice nod to that. And they don't have a handle for it, so Groot gives his arm to be the handle, and like, you know, so you know, the handle is Groot. Groot's part of the Stormbreaker now. So Thor's got a new hammer that's like capable of, it's his finest creation ever. It's like the best weapon in the universe, and it turns out this guy's the same guy who made the Infinity Gauntlet. So you know, this is a weapon that can stop Thanos apparently. And so then Thor ends up coming back later, and this is another awesome moment when Thor comes in. He's so mad, and one of the coolest things is the eye that Rocket stole from this dude in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He gives to Thor. Thor puts in his new eye. Like, just amazing little things like that. You get your Stan Lee cameo. Stan Lee didn't die that we know of from Thanos, but who knows? Some people die all over the place. You get this great battle going on in Wakanda. At the same time, you're getting this great battle going on with like Spider-Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Doctor Strange against Thanos on Thanos' homeworld, fighting for the Time Stone. And here's where some interesting stuff happens. You see, they come up with this great plan to try to stop Thanos, and they almost get him. And Peter Quill screws it up, right? Because he gets mad because he found out Gamora died. And so, interesting thing happens here, and I think this might be a setup for the next event, the next movie. Is we've already shown that since Thanos has the Reality Stone, and he's got like 4 or 5 stones by now. He's got 4 at this point. He can remake reality, and he can put illusions and stuff like that. So Strange's cloak goes up and wraps around the gauntlet, and they're all they all attack at the same time. They're trying to Spider-Man puts the web in his eyes, and it's just this is one of the best scenes because you're getting this great teamwork, and it's like so indicative of those amazing team ups that you're used to. Everybody is doing their stuff. Strange's cloak is holding this down. Iron Man is blasting him, and Quill and everybody is shooting him from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mantis jumps on his head and is trying to put him to sleep. But she's only able to subdue him a little bit. And all, they're all hitting him at the same time, and they're trying to pull the gauntlet off, and they've almost got it. And their hands are all over it. Spider-Man's trying to pull the gauntlet off with his web, and when he eventually breaks free, and amazing stuff. It was just a great scene. They almost had it. Like the gauntlet actually kind of came off, and then he grabbed it right back. They really teased you with that. But I have a feeling right after that, and Strange goes off of this whole thing about like, I'm not giving him the time gem. If it's a matter of of you guys dying or whatever, I choose the gem over you because this is the universe, and and that seems like accepted. But then this first time Thanos threatens to kill Tony Stark, Strange is like, okay, all right, you can have the gem, just don't kill him, and that's the key to, I think, what happens from here on out. I think this is the point, because Strange uses the time gem before Thanos shows up to look at all possible future. He looked at like 40 million possible, or maybe 4 million possible futures, and Iron Man's like, well, how many of those did we win? And he goes, and only one. And they're like, wow, so basically there's a chance, but it's an incredibly slim chance. But then he gives him the thing, and he said at the end of the movie, he's like, it was the only way. I don't think so. I think something happens here at this point in the movie. I think they actually are able to manipulate the Reality Stone to put a false reality over Thanos. That's what I think. But I'll come back to that once we're all done. So Thanos takes the time gem, goes down to Earth, gets into this amazing battle that's going on in Wakanda right now. They end up not being able to extract Vision's gem in time, so Vision has to leave and join the fight. Scarlet Witch can just destroy the gem inside Vision's forehead, but she doesn't want to kill Vision, so they do this whole battle just to save one guy's life. And they explain why. They talk about like, that's stupid, and they're like, no, that's what we do. That's what we're fighting for. Okay, I buy that. It's good enough. It's good enough to plus it's an excuse to have these amazing scenes. Like this battle in Wakanda is phenomenal. Like, everybody gets to do very, very, very cool stuff. War Machine gets one of his coolest scenes ever, where he's dropping like this napalm on these guys. It's amazing, just really cool stuff. But this is one of those scenes where Bucky actually gets like hardly anything to do. He doesn't have much. I mean, it's great to see him show up and embrace Captain America again, but you don't get to do much. Falcon, you don't get a whole lot out of Falcon and Bucky. Both of them you don't get much out of. And I didn't get much out of Okoye either, who is the amazing. Denai Guerrera is just a superstar in these films, especially in Black Panther. But you didn't get as much out of her, and I get it. She's not, one of the biggest stars in the Marvel Universe, even though she should be. But you just don't get as much out of her. Understandable. Tom Holland gives an amazing performance too, by the way. Great Spider-Man. So Thanos shows up, just starts, everybody that comes after him, he just pounds them into the ground. Maybe they're dead, maybe they're not. You're not really sure. And he gets to Vision. He takes that. He just rips the gem right out of his head. Vision collapses dead. He's just killing people like crazy. Nobody can stop him. Although you do get that great scene where Cap is kind of stopping the hand, but that's only, he just punches him with the other hand. So it's there just to show you how strong Cap is and his will, but but then Thor attacks Thanos, and Thor throws Stormbreaker at Thanos, and Thanos is trying to stop it with this rainbow shot of all of the Infinity Stones. And Stormbreaker cuts right through it, cuts into his chest. You know, Thanos is like, oh well, and before that, Scarlet Witch does destroy the gem and kills Vision, so Thanos can't have it. But he's got the time gem now, so he just rewinds time. He's like, no, I will actually, you know. So then he rewinds, restores the gem, and then takes it. So Thor comes in, kills Thanos, or not kills Thanos, but mortally wounds Thanos, and Thanos is like, oh, well, you should have went for my head instead of my body. Because then he snaps his fingers and then destroys half of the life in the universe right there. And this is like the climax of the movie, and all of a sudden it just kind of ends. Like, there's like 3 minutes after this, and it's just of half the people you know die. And so, like, and Wakanda illustrates this great because you have this huge battlefield, and people just start turning into dust. And then all of a sudden, like, you're looking at the heroes, and they're all turning into dust. T'Challa just evaporates. He's gone. Scarlet Witch evaporates. Bucky, I think Bucky's the first one to do it. Bucky just evaporates. You know, they just start dying. You're only left with Captain America and Thor, and Scarlet Witch, and Bruce Banner, who's in the Hulkbuster armor, which is really funny too. There's a lot of jokes and comedy in this movie that actually really work. It's not overdone, but it does take you out of, like, because it's emotionally taxing, especially losing so many heroes and characters. But so that, like, people just keep dying on Earth, and they're just evaporating, and it's like it's total tragedy. It's total heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching tragedy. These people are dying. There's nothing you can do. And Steve Rogers kind of summarizes it. He sits down and he's like, "Oh my God," you know, it's amazing. And then you go back to Thanos' homeworld, and Tony Stark is seeing the exact same stuff happen. Everybody's just dying. All the Guardians of the Galaxy disappear except for Nebula. She was one, and it's random who lives and who dies, and that's the thing that leaves you saying, like, oh my God, you're so powerless against this random death. And Doctor Strange says at this point to Tony, like, I'm sorry, Tony, it was the only way. Then he disappears. And the saddest part is Spider-Man, who goes to Tony Stark and says, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so right. You know, he's like, you're okay, kid. You're okay, kid. He's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Oh, my. It gets me a little emotional. It was really well done. Tom Holland hit this scene out of the park. Absolutely insane. And it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that's basically where the movie ends. It just ends like that. There is a post-credit scene. So you wait for the short credits to finish, and then there's nothing, and then it starts the long credits, and you're like, then some people start to get up and leave, and I was like, amateurs, you know. But then you get to the final credits, and it shows New York City, and then you've got some other people you haven't seen in a while. You see Nick Fury and what's the other the female Shield direction of Maria Hill. Thank you. Who am I saying thank you to him? This isn't live. Maria Hill and Nick Fury are in New York, and they're talking. They're having a conversation, and all of a sudden, like, a car spins out of control in front of them. You know, and they're like, "Wait, what happened? Are they okay?" And there's nobody in there, and you're like, "Oh, okay." There are people in New York. This is showing that Thanos' thing hit people all over. So you're just seeing the results, the aftermath of, like, a rapture or a Thanos style judgment. People just disappearing. A helicopter crashes into a building. You know, this chaos beginning to erupt, and and then Maria Hill disappears, and Nick Fury's always prepared. He's like Batman. He's like, he knows exactly what's happening. He grabs some device, and then Nick Fury disappears, and he's dying. And he says, "Mother," and it disappears. So it's really funny. But he hit the button on this device before he disappears, and it drops to the ground, and the camera zooms in. And this is like, it's not entirely clear, but it's pretty clear what this is. It's some kind of pager, or sending. It's a messenger, and he sent him like a beacon to, and it's got a picture, and it looks old. So I think it's like time. Like a chrono pager or something like that, and it's sending a message back, and it's got Captain Marvel's insignia on it. So again, this movie's coming out. You're setting up Captain Marvel, which is going to take place in the 90s, and that's kind of one way that So basically, Nick Fury sent a message to Captain Marvel. I guess he was prepared for this eventuality, that that something like this was going to happen. That he probably knew about Thanos, and he decided, you know what, we're going to have a contingency plan for this. You'll stay safe in the past, and or something, you know, and if we need you to, you know, to fix things, I'll send you a message so you can do something to change our future. So there is that possibility, and maybe Doctor Strange saw this. So now we're going to talk about the theories for what is going to happen next. That it could be as simple as Captain Marvel saves everything. She gets this message from Nick Fury. You know, like the Doomsday scenario happened. Thanos came and got all the Infinity Stones, destroyed everybody. That could happen. However, and then maybe she's got to go do something different, like destroy one of the Infinity Gems. Maybe she's got to, you know, fix all of that. What I think is also a likely scenario is that, you know, when Doctor Strange sent his, you know, they did this team-up attack on Thanos, that they actually, maybe they got the glove off of him, but they knew that he, even without the glove, he's still powerful. He's still, like, maybe Hulk level powerful without the, you know, without the gauntlet, maybe more so. He's still more powerful than any one of them, maybe any two of them. So they're like, he's not going to stop, you know, until he gets this. So the only way to make him stop is to make him think that he has succeeded. So it could be that at that point it was all a, you know, a ruse. That's certainly a possibility. I think there's going to be a lot more theories, but when they were all trying to, you know, they might have taken some of the gems. He might not have had all of the gems. They may have taken the reality gem to do so, and you know, and don't forget, Mantis was in his brain too. And so maybe she did something to his brain to make him see what they wanted him to see. And that was his victory. So this way he would retire and he would be done. And maybe that was, you know, that's one possibility. The other possibility is that this is just simply what's going to happen. And it's going to make way for a whole new wave of superheroes. So who's still alive at this point? Well, Hawkeye did not appear in this movie. Neither did Ant-Man. They mentioned that they're at home with taking care of family because they both have families. and so that, you know, that makes sense. And we know there's an Ant-Man movie coming around, and it takes place in New York or whatever. And as far as what you can see in the little trailer for Ant-Man, they're all like, okay, life is normal. You know, granted, it's a small trailer, so it's not telling you much. But in the context of things now, there's not that many heroes left. So there's a whole lot that could happen with that movie. It makes that a lot more interesting. I think people are going to really want to see Ant-Man right now, just to see what the aftermath is. So not so much about Ant-Man and the Wasp, but really like what happened after Thanos. So that's one reason people are going to really want to see this. But I really want to see Captain Marvel now. I wasn't that excited about a superhero movie from the 90s, even though the nostalgia would be cool, and I'm sure they could do it well because they've been doing great movies. But oh my gosh, you know, there's just so much going on with this. This is just nuts. So who's left? You know, we've got Iron Man, Cap, Thor, Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, Okoye, Rocket Raccoon, and Thanos, technically, Hulk, and Groot's arm. Technically, Groot could, in theory, grow back since his arm is the Stormbreaker hammer. That's possible, I suppose. And Nebula. And that's about it. Well, and then still, you know, Hawkeye and Ant-Man and the Wasp. So you still have some characters, and then Captain Marvel wherever she is. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm either Nick Fury. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you think Nick Fury's device was a portal to send a message back through time, or is maybe she cryogenically frozen, like maybe she's in stasis or something like that. Because we know she's a major player, and she'll, whatever they do after this, if they're going to bring some of these characters back for the next movie to kind of undo some of the damage, like some of this stuff, I can't believe they would have killed T'Challa. Like, some of these characters are too big to die. You can't kill off all of the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, you can't do that. You can't kill off Doctor Strange and T'Challa, right, when their franchises are just kicking off. You expected Iron Man and Captain America to die, but you didn't expect for the two other people who could potentially take the shield, which is Winter Soldier and Falcon, or the other two Captains Americas, Captainosos Americanos to die, except for the retiring Steve Rogers. So they're going to have to go back and undo quite a bit of this stuff. But we're going to see. All right, guys, let me know what you think. And don't forget, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And have a great day.